Hi, everyone. Welcome to my Inspire channel on YouTube. This is my very first podcast, and I'm interviewing a special guest. Welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. And my guest is a fellow podcaster, and she is a mindset coach who helps people build confidence and resilience. And it's not just the surface level, but real confidence when you really need it, when things don't look so good or they're not going quite so well. So I want you to welcome Rubina Patterson. And Rubina is in the UK. So she's 8 hours ahead of us. And I'm going to be asking her some questions that I have prepared here. And so this is going to be a great. I really am so grateful and happy. Hi, Rubina.
Hi, Susan. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So I want to start up with some warm-up questions, and
Okay.
we'll learn more about Rubina. Um, Rubina, what originally drew you to mindset work, confidence, and resilience?
Well, I would say that it's just based on life experiences, really, and trying to understand my thought processes. You know, wondering how I managed to achieve quite high in certain areas of my life and not in others. And I knew that I needed to learn more, and I wasn't quite sure what I needed to know. So I just put myself out there to find out more.
Great. That's great. Okay. Was there like a moment in your life when confidence felt out of reach, but everything changed?
Yes, I would say the journey is like a gradual journey, but as I learned more, then I realized I didn't know enough. So it was about it's the secret. I read the book The Secret, and neighbor just happened to give it to me, and I didn't really understand what the book was about completely, but I knew there was a different way of thinking, and then I started to understand that maybe I need to examine why I think certain ways and why sometimes I feel amazing and sometimes I don't, and how sometimes I can achieve and other times I can't achieve. So it's sort of it presented those questions to me, and so that's when I started to learn, and I knew that there's more that I could get out of my life.
That's
That
so
was I think that was the turning point.
that's so important. A lot of people, I mean, and I too did not realize that a huge part of mindset change and growth has to do with changing the way you think, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. It's everything is based on the way that we think. And until we actually understand how we think and why we think certain ways, then the journey is it's a bit of a mystery until we sort of understand why maybe our environment that we grew up with or the people around us or what we look into can actually impact the way that we think. And why do we think certain ways? And there's a saying, how did that jam get in the donut? So
Right,
so
exactly.
you've got jam within you, that's your operating system. How did that get in you? Why do you think a certain way? Why do you
Exactly.
repeat certain behaviors? So it's really interesting.
It is, and it has to do with being able to step back and examine yourself and find out those things about yourself.
It's the biggest journey that we can actually partake of. And it's interesting that a lot of people don't realize that we can actually impact our environment by going into the journey within ourselves. You know, going to the moon was a big deal, but this is a bigger deal. The inward journey. The moon is miles away to an inanimate object, but we've
Yeah.
got something within us which has been placed there, and we just need to discover it to release it and understand it.
Oh, yes, for sure. So, Rabina, how did starting your podcast shape or deepen your own mindset journey?
Well, I kept being told by different people that there's a way that I speak which actually resonates with people and helps them understand certain things. And I dismissed it actually. I thought, well, I'm not quite sure what they mean, so I just ignored it. Um, and people just kept telling me, there's a resonance to your voice and your journey and your message seems to be quite powerful. So, and I love to talk. So, why not use something which seems to be taking off at the moment? Why not use that and encourage people and help them understand that there's a transformation we can all take, as I've experienced that as well. So why not share that and listen to other people, ordinary people who have done extraordinary things when the odds were against them? Why not share that?
Yes. So you are getting little nudges here and there to move forward with that, right?
It's interesting. Yes, and I thought, you know what? I've never done it before. Why don't I just give it a go? And that's why I'm so happy for you doing yours as well, because you're in control and you can invite on, you know, whoever is actually resonating with your audience. And I think you're an incredible person, and I can't wait for you to share what you do. So I'm just so excited that you're going to start putting your message out there and connecting with your people as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Rubina. I love that. So we're moving on to confidence in this part of the interview. How do you personally define real confidence?
Real confidence is really doing the inner work and pushing forward and not really caring what people think. Because there's a lot of us, I've read in some reports that 75% of people, the lack of confidence really plays a major part in how we live our lives. So once we work on ourselves and build ourselves up and change the way that we think, a lot of the fear is about what people think of us, and what will happen if it doesn't succeed, what will happen if it does succeed. It's about pushing through that, pushing through the doubts, and really having self belief. So once we know we've got something to say, even if it's not perfect, you need to do it because there's nobody else like you.
Oh, that's
That's how you build confidence in yourself. Believe in yourself more than anything else. Bet on yourself. As
right.
we know, that's what we get told. Bet on ourselves. It's the best bet you can take.
Yes. Rabina and I both have a mentor who we truly admire, and he talks about confidence and he and our other mentor, my other mentor, Bob Proctor, talks about learning about the true spirit that we all came from and that we're all part of. So
That's
that's
right.
wonderful.
Absolutely.
And that's
And
what
once we can look around, it's. I was reading the other day about how amazing the lilies are, how they're dressed, but they're dressed better than Solomon. And if the lilies can make that appearance and appear so beautifully, how so more us to tap into that same energy? I'm sorry if I cut you off there. But
oh, that's
that's really what it's about.
yes. Yes, because 95% of us is invisible. This is our shell. This is our
Yeah,
outside.
we've been
So,
reading about that every day, haven't we? The
yes,
iceberg. We're the tip of the iceberg,
right.
and there's so much more to us than what people see.
Exactly. So what do you think, Rabina? What's one confidence myth that you see holding people back the most?
I think the myth is believing the things you get told as true. So there's many things we get told. Sometimes it goes back to childhood, and we repeat it even though it's not true. You know. So we could get told, oh, I'll never be able to do maths. I'll never be able to speak a new language. I'll never be able to. We've got these negative slope we seem to have. But where did that actually come from?
Exactly.
So the myth is, yeah,
And then we believe it and it goes into our paradigm.
yes, it does. We believe it. We believe something that isn't actually true. And we grow up believing certain things that we get told. We believe it's true. But where's the evidence to say that what people say is true? Do we have evidence to prove our doubts? Our doubts aren't true. Our doubts basically are what people have told us or what's been implanted in us by certain opinions and things like that. So that's what we need to question. So it's the biggest myth is believing what we get told. What we are we being told the truth? That's what we need to investigate.
Great question. Okay. So, Rubina, in your coaching work, what's the most common confidence block people don't realize that they have?
I think it's all linked to what we were saying before. One of the biggest confidence, because I experienced it myself, is that I'm just not good enough to do this. You know, I'm just not good enough to do what I actually want to do. But those flashes we have, those dreams we have, those flashes that we have, that's what we're supposed to be doing. And sometimes we push them aside. So if we get a thought flash through our minds, we need to listen to that intuition. We need to listen to that and think possibly this could be what I'm here to do. Pursue it. If you get a hunch, look up the hunch, act on the hunch, and there's a purpose why, and there's a reason why you get these thoughts. There's a reason why these ideas come to you. Why do they come to you? They come to you because it's possible for you to actually do what you're thinking.
Yeah,
That's intuition.
it's that small voice that we push away.
It's that small voice that push, go this way, go that way. There's so many biblical stories about, different ones who didn't want to be leaders. Like Moses was a great example. You know, but there was a stronger message for the people. He didn't feel he could speak well enough,
Yes,
but
for
look what he
sure.
did. It was incredible. So we can feel that way. We can feel that we're not good enough, but we have to ask ourselves, why do we think we're not good enough? Who has said we're not good enough? What's the worst that could happen? 99% of the time, the things we worry about never happen.
Yes, yes. Didn't Earl Nightingale say that? Yes. A big
It's
percentage
so
of
true.
worry never happens.
Yeah.
So, Rubina, how do you help clients build confidence when they don't feel ready yet?
Well, it's about really encouraging them to value themselves. Write a letter to yourself. Are you seeing yourself the way that God and the universe sees you? What are you here to do? There's nobody in front of you being you. This is how I've worked on myself. So if there's nobody in front of me being me, I'm at the top. I've already won. I've already won by being here. I'm so grateful to be here. So let's
Yes,
start with that. What is
exactly.
there in your life that you can be so grateful for? And as you build up that gratitude, you build up your confidence. You write that letter to yourself. What is it that God sees in me? And as you write that list, it's very emotional. It's an emotional thing to do. And then you
What's
can ask yourself, what is it that I'm here to do? And since I'm going to be first at being myself, I don't need to be second at being somebody else.
what's an example that you could put in the letter, Rubino? How would you start it?
You start by looking at all the amazing things you've achieved for a start, because sometimes we forget what we've actually achieved. For me, being brought up in institutions and in children's homes from, a baby, my self-confidence was so low. It's like nobody really wanted me from a baby. I'm not wanted and I'm not loved. So I have to learn to love myself. What do I love about myself? I love the fact that I wake up every day. I love the fact that I have fun and laugh. I love the fact that I can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And there's a reason why I'm here, and there's nobody here like me. So there's nobody here like you, Susan. There's nobody here like anyone that's listening to this. You're incredible. There's nobody else like you. There's no one that can do what you can do, and nobody can fill the space that you feel. God has put that within us. I've designed you as unique. You're a unique person. And as I started to write that, I got really emotional. It's true. There's nobody here like me. There's nobody here like me. I'm here to do something that nobody else can do.
Exactly. Everybody has that for sure. And we just forget.
Everybody.
So, moving on to resilience and bouncing back, what has been one of your biggest personal setbacks, and how did resilience show up for you?
Oh, there's so many setbacks in life. There's so many. You know, my one of my biggest ones was when my husband fell ill, and we lost him within a week. A young person, a young man, my soulmate, love of my life, suddenly wasn't feeling well. And even the doctors didn't realize he wasn't well. So there's us here with two children, aged 2 and 5, and he wasn't feeling well. And he wouldn't go to the hospital. Well, he went to the doctors a few times, but they didn't really find anything. So he almost sort of blacked out. So we said, I've had enough of it. I'm going to the hospital. So we went there. He said, make sure that the girls go to school first. Um, and so we went to the hospital, and they started to say, oh, we're really sorry. Well, what does that mean? It was a huge tumor. It's a huge tumor. And then, it's basically saying there's nothing we can do. So, you know, how do you respond to that? My nose started bleeding immediately.
Mm, yes, for
And,
sure.
they were trying to think of a plan and everything, and it was too late. He was gone within a week.
Mm,
So, how do you go back and speak to your children and explain that to them at such a young age? And how do you recover from that? It's only with the grace of God that I survived that for sure. And I think from that journey, it's incredible to think that you can survive that kind of thing. Not eating, losing weight, all those kind of things, not sleeping. So for me to get through that, for me, it tells me that there's a greater power than me. Coming out of the hospital, seeing 2 rainbows, that gave me the strength and the resilience to go and tell my two beautiful girls what's happened. Because I didn't have the words to even explain it. The words just came to me. So
mm,
whatever it is that anybody's going through is listening to this. Even when you think that you can't get through a situation, you can, because you're tapping into a power it's far more stronger than yourself. And whatever that power is in your life, whether it's God, whether it's the universe, whatever it is that you have that empowers you, that's what you need to tap into. And just don't give up.
great, great.
That's
I love
that's
that.
that's that's the thing. There's so many people going through stuff and unthinkable things that they go through. They might look confident. Some people look so confident, but they're going through stuff. Everybody goes through stuff. It's just a matter of valuing yourself, pushing through it each day, and understanding that you're here and you've already won.
For sure. That's wonderful. And so, Rubina, what daily practices help you stay resilient when life gets heavy?
Gratitude first and foremost. Gratitude. You know, um, Somebody once said, "Gratitude opens heaven's doors." And what it does, it shifts the focus away from what's missing in your life. Because I used to focus on what was missing. But then when you write down every day what you're grateful for and you give thanks and gratitude and you feel it deeply, that makes a big difference because you're focusing on what you've already got. You're focusing on what's coming your way because faith means you can actually see it before you actually believe it.
And
So you
for,
see it first
yes,
in your imagination.
yeah. And for our listeners, I want to point out that Rubina and I have a mentor that really helps the gratitude hit home. Is when you write down what you're grateful for, you ask yourself, why am I grateful for that? And
Yes,
then that puts you at another level. And as
yes.
far as the emotion. And so that's an important step for the listeners.
The emotion is important because it's the subconscious that responds to the emotion more than anything. And you know, the the feelings that you feel with gratitude, even if you're feeling a little bit below, the way you want to feel, just tip it over that 1% over the 51%. Because it was Price Pritchard that said some people find it easier to reduce the negatives than focus on the positives sometimes. So whatever way works for you, when you end the day with gratitude, you start the day with gratitude. It actually sets you up for the rest of the day. And you'll find that if you've gone to sleep feeling a certain way, you'll wake up the same way as you went to sleep. So you can even reframe your day if you haven't had such a great day before you go off to sleep because your subconscious is always awake, your conscious mind is going off to sleep. And so if you're more open to feelings when your conscious mind is about to close off as you go off to sleep. So and as you wake up as well, they're the best times to practice gratitude, even before you get out of bed. Be grateful and see how it lifts your spirits because we're surrounded by things which could actually pull that out of us. And
Yeah.
this is how you can win the day before it actually starts.
And for those listeners, sometimes that you're in a point in your life where you think, I just can't possibly think of anything. Well, you could say,
Yeah.
I'm alive. I can drink clean water. The sun is shining. Those are little things, but they mean a lot. If you can
Oh, yes.
see the best, look for the best.
Yes. And Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, he he explains that somebody came to him one day and he said, all is lost. I've got nothing in my life. It's all gone. So he said, that's interesting. So he said, I don't really agree with that, but let's write something out. Just grab a piece of paper. So he said, do you have a wife? And he said, yes, I do. And he said, so how is it? How do you feel about your wife? And he said, my wife supports me in everything I do. She's amazing. She would never leave me. So I said, okay, so you've got a beautiful wife. How about children? You've got children? He said, yes, I've got two beautiful children. They support me in everything I do. I say, so number two, you've got some beautiful children there. And how about friends? Do you have any friends? He said, yes, I've got some amazing friends. They support me. So that's three groups. That's three things you've got. How about your health? How's your health? He says, yes, my health is quite good. He says, okay, so you've got your health. He's going down a list. And at the end of it, he said, well, it seems as if I have got some things in my life. I said, yes, that's right. You have. And he told somebody else who was feeling the same way, he said, why don't you go and spend some quiet time and go and spend some time in a cemetery? So I said, that's a bit odd. Why would tell me to go to a cemetery? It's because it'll make you feel grateful because we know one day we'll all end up there, but not today. Be grateful that you've got today. So, everyone's circumstances are different, but there's something you can find in your life, and there's an achievement you've actually achieved in the past. Think about that, what you've done in the past as well, because what God has done for you before, He can do for you and more today. And there's so much more to our lives than sometimes we think about. So just take time and think about those things sometimes.
Exactly. Okay. Wonderful message. So what mindset, Rabina, helped shift, help, excuse me, what mindset shifts helped you to stay consistent when growth felt slow?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I've been working on. I'm still working on it, consistency and persistent. Because when you think about as we grow up, we're programmed. Like anyone that has a mobile phone, it's programmed, or a computer, it's programmed. It's got internal systems that are working. We're programmed by our environment, by what we look at, by the people around us. And as we're younger, we don't reject anything that we hear. We accept everything. And so we're easily programmed. So as that program is within us, if we need to make changes, we have to reprogram ourselves by creating new pathways and focusing on the person we want to be. And so that the person we used to be, or the thoughts we used to have, they gradually lose energy and lose power because we're actually relearning and replacing those pathways. So repetition and thinking of the person you want to be before you get there and acting that way, that's how you reprogram and you change your life. It's crucial. Everybody agrees the fact that you become what you think about the most. So what are we thinking about? Most of the time we're talking to ourselves, and sometimes it tends to be quite negative.
Exactly.
So if we feel that something's coming up, just cancel that immediately and replace it with those things that you've been imagining, what you're grateful for, who you are as a new person. And gradually you're building a new model simply by changing the way that we think. Make your mind over. Change your mind by repetition. Keep repeating it to yourself all throughout the day, morning and night. Push those negative thoughts away.
Yes, exactly. So, we want the listeners to take some practical tools and takeaways. So
Yeah.
Rubina, what's one simple confidence exercise listeners can try this week?
So I think we mentioned one of them initially where we can actually write ourselves a letter. Write ourselves a letter as if it's coming from God or whatever you believe in or the universe, and write down your values, your qualities that you have. Write that down. And also write down what you're grateful for, maybe 3 to 5 things to start with every day. Not just things that you have in your life, but things that you're looking forward to receiving as if you've already got it. Write those things down and be grateful every morning as you wake up. Before you look at anything else, write down those things and repeat those things throughout the day. Even if you have to set an alarm every few hours to remind yourself how amazing you are and what's in your life already and what you're looking forward to receiving. And being, even if you, even better than that is to be the person and believe you received those things already. How would you be walking around if you had that job that you wanted? How would you be walking around if you had that bank account? How would you be walking around if you was experiencing some incredible things that you always wanted to do? How would you be feeling? When you focus on that for maybe 10, 15 minutes a day in the morning and hopefully at night as well, see how that makes you feel. Just do that for the next 7 days. If you can do it longer, do it for the next 30 days because it will change the way you walk around and the way you think.
For sure, definitely. Both Rabina and I practice gratitude every day. I'm sure Rabina meditates, and we do put a lot of these principles into practice. So it's changed
Yes, I
both
have
of
done
our
it. I don't know
lives.
if I sent the message today. I sent it. I have done what we normally do every day. I don't think I sent the message, but yeah, we read that chapter every day, and I have done that every day.
So we
And
are
I loved. I'm so
adopting,
grateful. Pardon? What was
Oh,
that,
I was going to
Susan?
say, Rubina and I are accountability partners in studying
Yes,
the material by Price Pritchard. It's called U Squared, and I don't have the book right here in front of me, but I usually do. Um, anyway, it's a great little book, and so we put a lot of that into practice.
fantastic. Yeah,
So
it's really helped me be consistent.
yes. Okay. So we're going down quickly on time here. I want to ask one more question on growth and
Sure.
perspective. Um, how do confidence and resilience evolve as we grow, especially in midlife or after major life changes?
That's such a great question because as we get older, the programming is deep rooted, deep rooted. And so what we need to do is think about the way the water runs down the mountain. It follows the most easiest route until it's diverted in some way. And it takes years sometimes for that water to make that groove. And so to divert it, you have to start open up a new pathway. And as we get older in life, those pathways could be deep seated, but repetition, bit by bit, digging that new groove for the water to run down and starving the other groove, it will start going down a new route. That's what we need to do by repetition, by thinking beyond and being the person we want to be in the future. Be that person now, create new pathways, and the former pathways will gradually close off. They might be still there in the background, but they won't be at the forefront of our behavior and our minds. This
Mhm.
is how rebuilding a new model works. You starve the former process and you fill it with whatever it is that you desire to be. Be that now.
Yes. So I want to let Rabina tell you about her podcast and where you can tune in and listen to her and on her podcast.
Oh, right. Thank you. So my podcast is called Aspirational Mindset Coaching Podcast on Apple mainly and on Spotify.
Wonderful, wonderful. I sure appreciate you being here, and maybe we'll do more of these together. I mean, it's a great learning experience. It's great information, and our intent is putting out a lot of good material. And we know that we can grow together, and our true spirit is for fuller expansion and growth, and we both
For
know that
sure.
and believe it. And that's where we're coming from.
Absolutely. And you're very inspirational, Susan. So I'm so grateful to be your guest. And I'm looking forward to keeping in touch and being the accountability partners in more things.
Yes, thank you so much, Rabina, for joining today. And thanks to our listeners. It's wonderful. And I'm glad you tuned in today.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it is. Okay, well, I've only have 1 minute left. So,
Okay, well done. Well done.
yes, thank you, Rabina. Let's keep in touch, okay?
Yes, yes. So you're going to save that to your computer?
I am. I think it's
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
when you end, it should save the recording for you on your computer if that's the option you've chosen.
Okay, I think I did. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye
good. Let
bye.
me know if you need any help. Take care.
Okay, thank you.